Hello ladies, welcome to our first ever Hello Beautiful introduction day. We are so excited to have you with us today. We're going to be sharing our vision and our dreams with you. We're just going to share a little story about how Hello Beautiful began and how we got to this point today with you ladies sitting in front of us. So it all started with a company called Shopfit National. Now Shopfit National do rollout stores. What they do is they fit all the stores with, all the fittings and everything. And you might have seen some of the stores that we do, like KFC, Wimpy, Tacky Town. Those are the kind of stores, all the fittings inside. That's what Shopfit National does. Things were going very well at Shopfit National, but one day Shopfit National lost one of their biggest clients. That client happened to be Tacky Town.
So on the 25th of June, I got a phone call, and in one day we lost our largest client in the Shopfit group. That's the factory behind you, that actually manufactures all our retail shops. We lost up to 60% of our business in one day. That's another whole story. But at that point, God gave me such clarity that we must trust Him, and He's busy doing something.
So Ian had to do something really crazy in his heart, but he knew he had to be obedient to do it. He took up a staff, a stick, and he came into the office here, and in front of everyone, he held up the staff and was obedient to God and asked the sea to open. God had brought us to a place where we needed to trust Him. There was no other way out. The sea was in front of us. The Egyptians were behind us. There was no way out. Only God could save us from this situation.
There was a strong sense that, he took me to Exodus, and he paralleled what was happening to us to the story in Exodus of Moses leading the people to the Red Sea. And something that struck me from the beginning was, why did Moses end up in front of that sea? Surely he came from that area when he went back to Egypt to fetch his people. Why did he go back by the sea? He knew it was a dead end. He knew it was a setup if the Egyptians were going to chase him down. And then I read Exodus 14:1 and said, God told Moses to turn around and go back to the sea. And I realized God said that I take you to the sea for a reason. So in a nutshell, our company was brought to a place that we were in front of a sea, and no business strategy or plan could save us. And God said, I will save you. I will fight for you. That process rolled out for a few weeks. About 3 to 4 weeks later, God spoke to me on the one weekend and said, I want you to lay it down. Like Isaac laid down, like Abraham laid down Isaac, I want you to lay down the business. I want you to lay it all down. I want you to give it back to me. And I want you to stay. And then as I did that, I felt a freedom. And then God said to me, now take up a prophetic sign, take up your staff, stand in front of your people, tell them to get up and walk through the water. I'm going to open the Red Sea. On that day that I did that in faith, I didn't feel like Moses. I didn't feel like a hero. I just obeyed because there was no other option, and my heart was surrendered. And on that day that I laid down this entire company with 80 people, with 5,000 square meters of factory, with 50 million rands with a turnover a year, on the day I laid that down and said, Lord, have your will. If you want to close us down, you close us down. Whatever you want, Lord. That day, God spoke through 2 people to me to say that there is something in African retail.
And one day, Ian and I were standing having a conversation about ice cream shops or whatever it was. I can't 100% clearly remember. But this word dropped into my head, wigs. And out of the blue, we were not even near the conversation of topic of wigs. And it kept bugging me and it kept going, and I almost think, was thinking, Brad, you're not listening to me, and because this word just wouldn't go away. So I said to him, sorry, I just have to just get this out of my head, wigs. And I looked at him, I actually just said the word wigs. I think God's saying wigs. And he looked at me and went, wigs. And then I felt immediately God say, Ian, go to the bridge and have a look up at the bridge, the shops in the bridge. And he said, okay, I'm going now. So we jumped into his car and he raced off to the bridge, and he phoned me. He said, Brad, where about in the bridge? Where must I go? I said, I don't know, I think it's up there near the old movies, And so he raced up there. Anyway, he phoned me. He said, Brad, you'll never believe it. I'm standing in front of a shop that's open, and on the one side is a hair shop, and on the other side is a chicken shop. And anyway, he just went down to management and he inquired about the shop, and apparently there was someone else also interested in the shop.
So I got this phone call from this guy, introduced himself, and he wanted to meet with me, and because the reason of wanting to meet was that he got my number from the management, from the center management of Green Acres, which I put an application for a vacant space. And then after that, he was given my number. So apparently we were looking at the same type of business in that spot. So we went at around Stanley Street at Salt for a cup of coffee, with the vision that he's got, about the hair. So coincidentally, it was the same thing that I was, looking at, but obviously it was more like in two different worlds. Because the path that he came with and he highlighted, enlightened into me was the biblical side, and spiritual motivation, into the needy people, which is the ladies, the hands that they work, these hair. We spent more than a meeting there. We shared so much sentimental values, about our backgrounds and our views and how we look at things going forward. So it felt after a 30-minute meeting, supposedly coffee, into about a meeting of people who knew each other from 20 years ago. So it really felt so good and open. And then from there, the vision of Hello Beautiful was born.
So Ian and Luvo had coffee, and Ian shared his heart and his vision. And it didn't take long for Luvo to realize that this is something he wanted to be part of. And the next day, Ian brought him into the offices and introduced Luvo to the rest of the team. Okay, so we're starting a hair business. Okay, now Shopfit is a wood business, but God has told us to go into the hair business. This is crazy. Anyway, so now Ian needed to tell the rest of the company. And in a very important meeting, Ian walks into the meeting. This was a crisis management meeting. He basically says, we are going to do hair. We are starting a company and we're going to do hair.
Sometimes you can't read Ian's face expression when he tells a joke or something like that. So we were like, it must be a joke. What do we know about hair?
What did you think?
But to be honest, I thought when Ian walked in and spread that news, I thought, but now, his shop had closing down.
The first thing I probably thought it was an April Fool joke or something.
Well, I don't know what to think at the time, but it was a bit of a shock to all of us. I mean, it's not the thing you normally expect to do it,
Yeah, we thought he was losing it slowly, but surely. But yeah.
I thought he was having a midlife crisis or something like that, that he's lost the plot completely, because we tried to survive here and trying to see how we're going to get through, and then we're going into something that we don't know at all and not familiar with. And
I was thinking, oh my god, we're a wood company, we're going to hair. It's like, okay, it's like a huge surprise. I was like, it's something different, for what we're doing, and we're going this way, and there's only that way. I think everyone thought Ian lost the plot there a little bit.
As you can see, some of the people just thought Ian was crazy. He had lost the plot. Yeah, but that didn't stop us. We knew that God had spoken and that we needed to move forward with this vision and this heart. And slowly but surely, He started revealing things to us. One day in just a meeting, as we were discussing how we would move forward with this hair business, Tammy, one of the ladies who works at ShopFit, said, I saw some ladies coming out of a training session and they all look so beautiful with their hair and everything. And in that moment, God revealed to us that actually what He wanted us to do was train ladies, release ladies with their hands to do this, to install hair and to buy hair and sell hair. And God just started showing us it's actually not about the hair. It's about the ladies that have been crying out for Him, crying out to be heard by Him. And this was His answer. This is His answer back to them. And we slowly but surely realized that is what He wanted and that is what He was going to do. As we started to investigate the real hair industry, God showed us that He wanted to bring clarity and trust into a market that was full of deception and full of mistrust. And He wanted to bring a brand that people could really trust and rely on and see the quality. And that's really what we felt in our hearts. So, we did some more digging and slowly started breaking down what He actually wanted to say about the hair. God also very quickly showed Ian that he needed to go to China, to go to the source of where the hair was being manufactured. The hair doesn't all come from China, it actually all comes from India. But he had no idea where to begin. So this is another amazing story. Sia, who works at ShopFit Group, said, I know somebody who works in China, who lives in China and who buys and sells hair. So in that, God put us in contact with Socks. Ian phoned Socks and shared his vision with her, and she caught it in her heart. And she said, I'm willing to help you find the connections, the factories that we need to go and see in China. And that's how it began.
Sia, who works at ShopFit Group, actually contacted me and told me that there is a company that wants to sell hair. So, and then she became quiet for a while, like a week and a half, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I think I sent her a message saying, okay, so what's happening there, is the interest still there and stuff like that. So she says, no, I'll get a call. I was like, whoa, okay. And sure enough, I think maybe a couple of hours after that, I get a message from Ian explaining via text who he is and that he got my number from Sia. And I was like, oh, okay. And that's how that happened. And then he actually asked if he could call me. I was like, whoa, okay. I'm like, okay, it's fine.
One afternoon, I have a call with her. It's about an hour Skype call. I just share the whole story, share the heart, share the vision, and say, I've got to come to China.
So he calls, and then it's like a long conversation, which was great because I got to really understand, where all of this is coming from and the actual person behind, Sia's message, because I really wasn't sure what was happening there because she didn't really give me enough information. So once I spoke to him, everything made sense, because he shared his journey with me, shared, the events leading up to that point, and everything just, clicked. And he also just expressed to me, after I spoke about myself, that he really feels, that I'm in this, or I could play a big part in this. And I was also excited, for some reason that phone conversation was just great and uplifting and exciting.
And she says, I'm in. I give her some leads or where we're looking, and Socks is a bit of an admin queen, and she just starts booking appointments and starts getting ready for it. And then the rest is history.
So now Ian's all ready to go off to China, and in church one Sunday morning. Now he's leaving for Pretoria the next day to go and get his visas and everything organized. This is happening at an extremely fast rate. It's all happening so quickly. And in church that morning, as he walks out, God says to him, God knows. God says, I want you to take Juliet with you. to China?
I'm in the service and I feel quite strongly I need to take someone with me to China, and I sent Juliet. So I walk out the service. Now, the reality is I'm going in just over a week's time, but I haven't got my visa yet. I'm flying the next day. It's Sunday morning. Monday I'm flying to Joburg to the Chinese consulate to go apply for my visa. There's a whole stack of paperwork that's been done already. I've got it with me. I'm flying the next morning. I'm going to go sit in a queue to apply for a visa, okay? Which takes about a week, and the visa, if I get the visa, it'll come just in time before I fly out. In that service, I sense the Lord saying to take someone with me, and Juliet's the person. I walk out the service. It was just worship. It's just past, about probably 9:15 in the morning. I send Juliet a WhatsApp. You want to come to China?
Ian sent me a WhatsApp message to say that he just stepped out of church, to send me a message to say that he felt that he should invite me to China with him. He said, think about it, pray about it, see if it's right, and if it is, you need to actually have your visa interview tomorrow with me in Joburg. So...
And you in Port Elizabeth?
And I'm in Port Elizabeth. So, that meant I had half a day to pull everything together, including flights and visa letters. So I said to him, let me pray about it. Came back to him about 2 hours later, and we decided if it's the right thing, I need to get the visa letters. So actually the visa letter was going to be the deciding factor. He managed within about half an hour to get a visa letter from China for me to say, you're invited to China and please come. So we get to the visa center. There's a very long queue. We only have about 3 hours to get our visas sorted, and then we're flying back to Port Elizabeth, same day. We see a couple of applications go ahead of us. They say to these applicants, no, sorry, you don't have the right documents, come back. So Ian and I are sitting in this visa queue thinking, oh my goodness, we hope we have everything, and we hope that everything just goes smoothly. There are, I think, about 5 people behind the visa counters. 2 of them were African, and one of those was an African female with a beautiful weave. So we were praying that we just got the right person, and we got the African lady with the beautiful weave. And she said, you know what, your application's not correct, but I'm going to help you out. And she actually made adjustments to our application so that we could get the visa in time.
So in China, Socks has made arrangement to meet factories with real hair and a couple of people, so there's a lot happening. One of the people they meet is a guy by the name of Tony. This is how God put Tony into the picture.
So we're in Xuchang. We sing suppliers the first day in this city. This city has about 200 hair suppliers, I believe. We only sing 5. We're on the 3rd one for the day. The first 2 have opened up, taught us so much information about the industry. We couldn't believe how much we were learning. It was like they were told they needed to teach us. They let us into the factory, they showed us, they started telling us that you don't get Brazilian hair, you don't get Peruvian hair, it's all Indian hair, and all they do is change the stickers. And I'm like, oh my word, they're just sharing openly with us, which you would get the idea they wouldn't normally do this. The 3rd supplier for the day, I'm busy riding in the car, his name's Tony. We're busy riding, and he starts to talk to me. We ride past this big building, and he says, oh, there's a public library in there, and I had to pay 50 RMB to read the Bible the other day. And I'm like, what? Now, he doesn't know how much I've been praying about this trip, and I'm saying, read the Bible, so tell me more. Later on, he tells me that this is there was a Danish client that came down a while ago, and they were looking for a supplier, and they couldn't find one, and this guy was a Christian, and he prayed. And the next day, a miracle happened, and they found the supplier, and since that day, Tony's been interested to know more about this God, this Christian God. And I'm thinking, okay, Lord, you're working here. So the next couple of days, I spent time with him, show him how, explain the gospel to him, show him how to read the Bible, download the Bible in his own Chinese language onto his phone, and it was quite incredible. But that while I was driving with him in that car, I was looking at his face. I'm like, but I've seen this guy before. And I realized God gave me a dream before I left. And I only realized when I was sitting there that I've seen this guy, I had a dream. And in the dream, I was in the passenger seat like I was in real life, and there was this Chinese man driving the car with a big smiley face looking at me, and God said, this guy's going to help you. And in the dream, I got a strange sense that he somehow believed. And what I realized was he was on the process of believing, coming to belief. He believed, he was on this journey getting to know God, and I was there to help him on that journey. It was quite an incredible process, and this was the first day.
So after being in China for a couple of days, God really shows us that He wants us to do real hair. And that became so clear to us. He didn't want us to do synthetic at all. He wanted us to focus on the real hair.
Yeah. So when we left, we thought, with our limited understanding, and even with talking to people here in the market, we thought that we would do probably 70% synthetic hair and maybe 30% Remy or human hair. We didn't understand what Remy was there even then, because of the price and the cost and what the market's buying. But very shortly after that first city and how God has opened the doors, and we realized that the real hair is what people want. And Tony made a statement. He said, once you do real hair, you'll never look back for synthetic hair. But the problem was, for us on this trip, was that we were going to one city to research human hair, and then we were flying to, and there was a place called Xuchang. Then we were flying to a city called Qingdao, and Qingdao we had all appointments for synthetic hair. But by the time we were leaving Xuchang, we already had this sense that I think the Lord might be saying that we must only do human hair. And I don't understand exactly why, but I got the sense because that the word says that God knows every hair on our heads, and God's interested in people. The people it's going to, the people it's coming from, God has a story He wants to unfold. I'm not sure what it is yet, but this could be a part of the reason. But anyway, we fly out of the city, and we're coming, and we're landing in Qingdao. Now, we've had an incredible experience. We're thinking, oh my word, this is amazing. Are we going to experience the same thing in the next city? And as I land in that city, I get the sense in my, like a word from the Lord, that we're going to do no business in this city. I'm like, that's strange. Why are we coming here? We land, we had 5 appointments there. Not one of them, 5 for synthetic hair, not one were able to see us, not one wanted to see us. As much as the door opened in Xuchang, the door shut in Qingdao. And we needed that experience to actually, for God to confirm with us that what happened in Xuchang was Him opening doors. It wasn't normal. And this is Him closing doors. This is more like what you'd expect if you're flying off the bat into China, trying to find suppliers with no real money, no real connections. This is what you'll get. You'll get stone walls, closed doors.
So God has showed us step by step, real hair, clarity in the market, what He wants to do, the ladies, training up the ladies, releasing them, releasing their hands to do this, to make an income, to provide for their families. God is releasing, and He's doing something so amazing. And we are just so excited to have you ladies here today, and we are so excited for you to experience Hello Beautiful and to find out more about it. And we are really hoping that it captures your heart, and that you will move forward and spread the love of Jesus through your hands, through the hair that you weave onto their heads. And we just are so excited that God is going to bless South Africa, Africa, and the rest of the world through this incredible opportunity for Him to release His love through this vehicle of hair and this business. So that's it from me. Enjoy the rest of the day. Have a good time.